Hello, in this video I will show you how to make a basic keychain that you can then export as an SVG for laser cutting. So I've opened up a new design here in TinkerCAD, and first thing I do is always change the title to something descriptive, and then I need to change the size of my work plane. I want to make sure my keychain is no bigger than 3 inches by 3 inches. So if I go down here in the bottom right of my work plane and press Edit Grid, I can change the units to inches, and then the width to 3 and the height to 3. If you press in the number 3, it'll automatically add those two zeros. So then I can update my grid, and you can see my work plane has changed sizes. I'm just zooming in here so I can see everything. And then because laser cutting is a two-dimensional CNC process, I'm going to actually just look at a top view because this is going to be the best view for visualizing how the laser is going to work. Okay, so TinkerCAD works by bringing together and joining shapes. So I'm going to start with the base of my keychain. I'm just going to do a simple box. All right. Actually, right now, to edit the size of my box, I am going to right-click and orbit around my piece so I can see its dimensions. I like to make this a little bit short. Now be careful here when adjusting the height, because if you grab this black arrow, you're actually going to bring it above or below the work plane. And that might become troublesome when you try to add text, so just make sure you keep things grounded. Okay, and I'm actually going to change the size here a little bit. Let's make it big enough to have some text inside. All right, that looks about right. So I'm looking at 2 3/4 by 1 3/8 of an inch. Okay, now I'm going to add some text. So if I scroll down here on my basic shapes, I can drag in a text block. That's already too big, but I'll resize it after I change what it has to say. I think I'm going to make this a keychain for my classroom, so I'll just do 226, the number of the class. And I want to change it to a whole. You'll see why in just a second. Okay. Now, in addition to some text, I'll make this a little bit smaller. So I just click on it, resize it. I want to have a symbol and an actual hole for the keychain. So to make a hole in my keychain, I'm going to drag in this cylinder and change its size so it's a little bit smaller. And say I want a symbol, something that represents engineering or science, or maybe just shows a little bit of love. So I'll just bring in a heart. Resize. I want to make this a hole, and I want to position this right next to the 226. I got some love from Mr. Evans' class. All right. So I like this design. I'm going to check it from the top view. It's looking good. Maybe I'll move this up a little bit. Okay. Okay. Now, to combine all my shapes, I need to select all of them. So I'm going to click and drag across everything in my work plane. The other thing you can do is use the keyboard shortcut Control A. That selects everything. Now for this laser cutter to work, I need to actually cut holes into my base shape. So to do that, because all of these are hole geometries, I'm just going to press Combine up here, or Group. So that's Control G, or the little button at the top of your work icon, work plane, that looks like shapes being combined. So if I combine these shapes, what happens is those holes cut into the solid shape. So now if I look from my pure top view, I can see that the laser cutter is going to cut out all of these shapes. So I like my design. It's all finished. I'm ready to export. So what I go is up here to where it says Export, Download. I want to select .svg because this design will be laser cut. So I export as a .svg. And then this file is something that I can send through email or some other way, maybe save it to a flash drive for whatever the export purposes are. So I'll demonstrate sending it through an email. Open up my browser, get my mail open. I can compose a new email. And then I can just drag this attachment directly into the email. So I see my keychain.svg file is being loaded. I can type whoever this is to. Maybe I'll send it to my teacher. Make sure I have a subject, C. Evans keychain for laser cutting. Okay, body, and then I can hit send, and my keychain will be sent to whoever's going to actually cut it for me.